Okay, let's get started. So this is GoFutureNow's advanced lesson for Wednesday, June 22nd. This is the first advanced lesson that we're having, and we are going to have an advanced lesson every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Okay, so this is the first of many that are to come. In this advanced class, we're going to be doing 3 different things. We're going to be writing sentences with the verb to be using the full form. This is something that we know how to do, but we're going to practice with writing the sentences. If you were in the beginner class on Saturday, we looked at a little bit of verb to be exercises, so it'll be good to practice them today again, just writing the whole sentence. Then we're going to write sentences with the verb to be using the contracted form. The contracted form is used mostly for speaking. However, you can also write with the contracted form, especially if you're writing a text message, if you're writing emails, if you're writing informally, you can use it. For formal writing, you do not want to use contractions. Some people do though, but the correct way is not to use them, but it's still obviously very good to know how to do the contracted form of the verb to be. And then we're going to be writing questions using the verb to be. All right, so moving on. Oh, and it's very important that you get your notebooks, right? Because today we are going to be writing. So I'll give you a minute to get like a sheet of paper, something, a pen or a pencil, anything. But go get something so that you can write these sentences, because today, for advance, I want you to write. It's very important for you to write today, okay? So get your notebooks, my friends, because we are going to write today. All right. So on the next screen, I'm going to show you the verb to be. We're going to talk about it using the full form, but we're going to be looking at it in both full form and contracted form, okay? So the first one I have is I am, and the contracted form is am. I'm going to be doing the pronunciation so that when you get the video online, you'll be able to listen to the pronunciation and you can practice it. So I am, am. Next one, you are, your, right? You are, your. Next one, he is, he's. He is, he's. Okay, we have the next one. She is, she's. She is, she's. Next one. It is, its. It is, its. We are, we're. We are, we're. Then we have the next one. Next one is you are, your. You are, your. And again, we have you are twice because you can be singular, one person, or it can be plural, many people. So we remember that from the prior lessons. You is both. And then the last one that we have is they are, there. They are, there. Okay, so when you guys get this video, remember to practice the pronunciation a little bit. Listen to that part again. I know you know what these mean already because we're at an advanced level. However, it's always important to practice the pronunciation. It's always important to remember how to spell them, right? And all those things. So we'll keep looking at them, at least in that way. I have a practice for you. This is where you're going to write. I'm going to give you 5 sentences. Okay, I have 5 sentences here. And for each one, what I want you to do is I want you to write the sentence in a notebook or a sheet of paper. I want you to write the sentence in the full form. Okay? So I want you to write the sentence in the full form. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that, maybe 2 or 3 minutes to write all 5 sentences. Use the subject at the end that's in parentheses as the subject of the sentence, and use the verb to be in full form, not contraction, full form. Okay? I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes to do that. Write it on a sheet of paper, and then I'm going to show you the answers right after. Okay, and if you're done writing them, just if you can tell me on the chat. Just let me know that you're ready. I'm going to start reading them one by one and showing you the answer so that you can compare. So if you're ready and you wrote all of them, um, let me know. Also, there are some words here that maybe you need the definition for. So what I try to do is, because this is an advanced class, I try to use a little bit of a higher leveled words. So we have surgeon, we have a native, um, responsible, things like that. So if you need any definitions, please let me know.
Hey, Rafael.
Hi, Ricardo. How's everything going?
Doing good, man.
Excellent.
Sorry, I'm a little late.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. We're here. We're working.
Okay.
Rafael says that he's ready. What we're doing now is we're just, I have them writing some sentences for me. It's still very basic. We're working with the verb to be still, because it's only the first class of the advanced. But since they're advanced, I got them writing a little bit more, so that way they can practice that. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, I'll be
yes,
here in
sir.
case of anything and taking
Great,
care of the users. Okay.
great, great. Yeah. Just waiting maybe for one more person to tell me that they're ready to go, and then I'm going to start putting some of these up so that you can start checking them. Rafael, while I'm waiting for someone else, do you know what surgeon means? If you know what surgeon means in Spanish, type it in for me. So if you know what surgeon means in the chat, tell me in Spanish what that means. I'm going to do some of this vocabulary at the same time, um, while I have people working. What is a surgeon? course I can tell you. So surgeon is cirujano. Cirujano is actually the word for surgeon. Okay, good. Jenna is good. So okay, so that's good. So we'll add that one to our vocabulary. Okay, so I'm going to start giving these answers. So the first one is she is a student of English. That is number one. She is a student of English. Okay. Number two is they are close friends of mine. They are close friends of mine. Okay. Number three, he is a great surgeon. He is a great surgeon. Number four, I am a native of this country. I am a native of this country. Right? That's number four. And number five, you are responsible students. You are responsible students. So those are the five sentences there. Check what you wrote, make sure that you have them correct. And then we're going to move on to the next slide. If you missed them or I'm going too fast, don't worry, you'll have them in the video, but we have a few slides to go. Excuse me, so I'm going to keep moving. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Again, we have all of the pronouns and the verb to be in full form and as contractions. Okay, Lucero said it was blurred. We're gonna have to look into that. Okay, Lucero, good. I'm glad you can see it now. Good, good, good. All right, hopefully, you know what, Lucero, when we send you the video, and you were in the class last Monday as well, when we send you the video, hopefully it won't be blurred there. I'm going to be in contact with you to ask you how well you see the video. My concern is that some people, because of their internet connection, maybe they won't see everything that I'm doing, or they won't even hear it very clear if the internet connection goes bad. But my hope is that when we do the video and we send you the video, that's going to be clear. So you'll be able to look at it again, and if you missed something, or if anything was not that clear, didn't sound that clear either, then you'll be able to listen to it a second time. But thank you for letting me know. It's important for me to know that. So I appreciate that. We're going to be looking at the same sentences now, but we're going to look at them using contractions. So what I'll do is I'm not going to ask you guys to write the sentences again, but what I will ask you to do is to use the chat in order to write the beginning of the five sentences. So the first one, I'm going to wait to see someone answer, right? How would you write the subject and verb of the first sentence as a contraction? Put it in the chat for me. Not the whole sentence. You don't have to write the whole sentence. Just give me the subject and the verb as a contraction. Very good, Raphael. I see Raphael got it. So I'll show you the sentence while other people answer as well, and I'll give you the pronunciation. She's a student of English. She's a student of English. Very good, Lucero. She's a student of English. Give me number two. Let's go through these quickly, right? So let me get number two because I know you guys know it. And watch the spelling with number 2. Be careful with the spelling with number 2. Number two is close friends of mine, parentheses, they. That's not, I think you're doing number 3, Lucero. Let's go back. Let's go back to number 2. I think you mean oops. That's oops. Oops is when you make a mistake, right? Say, oops. Very good. There. That's how you write it. Rafael just put it there for us. So that's how you write it. The way you say it, there. So if you say the sentence, it'll sound like this. They're close friends of mine. So when I say they're close friends, what does that mean? What does that mean that they're close friends? Does that mean that they're very good friends of mine, or that they're not very good friends of mine? So I'll let somebody answer that through the chat. What does it mean if I say they're close friends? They are my close friends. Does that mean that they're very good friends, or that I just met them? I met them recently. They're okay. So I'll wait for an answer on that one, and I'll also let you guys give me number 3. But somebody answer that question for me. What does close friends mean? Really good friends. Very good, Lucero. Exactly. When I say that someone's a close friend of mine, that means that they're very, very good friends, very close, or cercano, amigos cercanos, right? That's the translation in Spanish. So then let's look at number 3. Let's look at number 3. What would be the answer there? How would you write that with the contraction? Very good. He's, which was the answer that Lucero had given me last time as well. He's, and how would you say that sentence? He's a great surgeon. He's a great surgeon. Okay, good. We already know what surgeon means, so let's move on to number 4. Let me get the answer for number 4. And also, native. If I say I'm a native of this country, what does that mean? Does that mean that I was born here, or that I migrated or I immigrated here? Which one is that one? If I say I am a native of this country, does that mean that I was born in the country, or that I came to the country, or migrated or immigrated to the country? What does that mean? And I see Lucero and Rafael have given me the answer. Is correct. I'm a native of this country. So I'll show the sentence and I'll wait for that answer. What does it mean to be a native of a country? Born? That is correct, Lucero. Yes. When you're a native of a country, that means you were born in that country. You are from there. That's correct. You also have locals. Locals mean if I'm a local of an area, that means that I live in the area. If I'm a native of the area, that means I was born in the area, right? Let's do the last one. So what's the answer for the last one? You were born there. Correct, Rafael. Yep, you were born there. If you're a native of a country, you were born there. That is correct. You were, Lucero, you're responsible students. Very good, very good. All right, so we're going to move on. You guys did great. I know this is still a little bit basic. It will get more complex, but it's good to go over the basics before we get to the more complicated things. So I'll move on to the next one. And what we're going to look at in the next page, we're going to look at the verb to be using the negative form. So we're going to look at it using the negative form, right? So we have all of the combinations that we looked at earlier. And the first one is I am. And for the negative form, you're just going to add not at the end, excuse me. So I am not, right? And you're going to do that for all of them. So the next one would be you are, And then you're going to say, you are not. He is. And then to make it negative, you will say, he is not. Then you'll have she is. And for negative, you'll have she is not. Excuse me. Then you'll have it is. And for negative, you have it is not. Next, we are. And for negative, we are not. Then you'll have you are and you are not. Excuse me again. And the last one, they are, and you have they are not. So what I'm going to ask you to do now, I'm giving you the sentence again, right? What I want you to do is I want you to write where you wrote the sentences in positive form, I want you to write them in negative form. So I'm going to give you, again, 2 to 3 minutes. I want you to go back to your notebook. You wrote them positive. Now I want you to write them negative to look at the difference. And very simply, we're just putting the word not at the end of the verb to be. All right? I'll give you guys about 2 minutes to do that. Then I'll show you the answers, and I will give you the pronunciation. Okay, just let me know that you're ready. Let me know that you've written them, or if you're not ready, then I'll wait. I'll give you an extra minute or two. But we're just writing these sentences in the negative form, simply adding not at the end or after the verb to be. Good, Lucero. So you're saying yes, I am. You're saying I'm ready. When you say yes, I am, don't do a contraction. So you'll say yes, I am. Yes, I am ready. One of those two is okay. And then I'm ready is good as well, Rafael. That's good. All right, excellent. So let's take a look at them. So the first one, she is a student of English. She is not a student of English. So I'm doing the full form. After this, I'm going to show you guys the contractions, okay? So this is the full form. She is a student of English. She is not a student of English. Number two, they are close friends of mine. Negative. They are not close friends of mine. They are not close friends of mine. Okay, moving on to number 3. He is a great surgeon. Negative. He is not a great surgeon. Okay, he is not a great surgeon. Number 4. I am a native of this country. I am a native of this country. Negative. I am not a native of this country. I am not a native of this country. And the last one, you are responsible students. Negative. You are not responsible students. You are not responsible students. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. If not, I'm pretty sure that we were able to get those correct. All we did was we added the word not at the end or after the verb to be, and that gave us the negative form. Moving on to the next page, I'm going to show you the verb to be using the negative form with contractions. Okay, so this is the verb to be using the negative form with contractions. I'll start on top, follow along with me. I am not. I'm not. The next one, right under. You are not. Negative with the contraction. You're not. He is not. Negative and with the contraction would be he's not. Next one. She is not. Negative with the contraction. She's not. Following. It is not. It's not. It's not. We are not. We're not. Next, you are not. You're not. And the last one, they are not. They're not. So we have them all there. What we did was the same contractions that you knew from before is the same ones again, right? So you're doing a contraction with the subject and the verb to be, and you're keeping not by itself. You're keeping not alone. You can also do contractions with the verb to be and not in all of the cases except for I am not. And I'll show you those now. For I am not in the bottom, right? You have to say I am not or I'm not. Some people say I ain't, right? You see it written there, I ain't. However, I ain't is not correct. People talk that way, but you're not supposed to write that way, okay? So that's why I put it in parentheses, because it's wrong. Do not write that way. But you can say, oh, I ain't going. It's a little bit of a slang term, right? So I am not, you can say I ain't, but only talking very informal, okay? Moving on to the next one, you are not. You can also do a contraction with the verb to be and not, and that will be you aren't, right? That's the contraction, you aren't. Then we have he is not, and you can do a contraction again with the verb to be and with not, and it would be he isn't. That's the contraction there. He isn't. She is not is very similar to he is not. You're doing the contraction with the verb to be and the negative not, right? And it's going to be she isn't. She isn't. And it is not, which is the third person singular, he, she, and it. Exactly the same thing. It is not as a negative in contraction. It isn't. It isn't. Then we have we are not. And for we are not, you're going to do the same thing that you did with you. You're going to combine are and not as aren't. And it's going to be we aren't. We aren't. You have the second you, which is ustedes. You do the same thing. Are and not gets, you put those two together. And it would be you aren't. And lastly, they are not. You do the contraction with are and not, and you get they aren't. Okay? Very important to learn both ways because people speak both ways. The top is not more popular than the bottom. The bottom is not more popular than the top. They're both popular when people talk. Even when people write informally, people will say, oh, I'm not going. He's not here. He isn't here. She's in the house. She isn't in the house. You know, they'll do both. They'll do the top contraction, the bottom contraction. So make sure you learn both of them the same. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to move on to the next slide, and I'm going to have you guys practice with me with the same sentences. But I'm not going to ask you to write the sentences. I'm going to ask you to give me the answers on the chat. Okay? So what I want you to do, number one, I want you to give me the subject, the verb, and the negative as a contraction. What would be the subject, the verb, and the negative be as a contraction? And you want to use, since there's two ways to do it, you want to use the ones that you see on top. So you want to use isn't, aren't, that's what you want to use. So I'll wait for you guys to write them out for me. She's not. Okay, good. So that's correct. What's the other way, Lucero? Give me the other way. How else can you write that? She isn't. There it is. Okay, that's both ways right there. So I'm gonna do it that way. I'm gonna do, because we practiced she's, he's, you were there. We practiced those. So now I want the other way. So we're gonna do isn't and aren't when possible. When possible. All right. What about number? Very good. She isn't. Excellent. What about number two? Give me that one. Just the beginning. Okay, we got Rafael's answer and Lucero's answer. They aren't. They aren't. Okay, good. Oh, I should have read the first one too. She isn't a student of English. Number two, they aren't close friends of mine. Good. Let me get number three. Good, that's correct. So the answer is he isn't a great surgeon. He isn't a great surgeon. How would you write number 4? Be careful, right? We have to do number 4, but you got to be careful with that one because right? How would you write that one? Number 4. You still have to do a contraction, but there's only one way to do it. How would you do it? Good. I'm not a native of this country. That's number 4. I'm not a native of this country, and I'll take the last one. Give me the last one. Very good. You aren't. You aren't responsible students, but that's not true. You guys are responsible students, but that's the negative form, and that is correct. Good job, guys. Okay, so I'll move on to the next slide right away. And this is the last part of today's lesson. The last part of today's lesson is just making questions with the verb to be, right? So to make questions very simply, you take the verb to be, put it in the beginning, and you're going to make a question right away. So we're going to do I am. You want to make a question. You say, am I, right? You are. If you want to make a question, turn it around, and you're going to ask, are you, right? The next one, he is. Turn it around, put the is in the beginning, and you're going to ask, is he, right? She is very similar, so is it. So she is, you're going to write, is she, right? And it is, you're going to ask, is it, right? You're going to turn it around. You're going to say, is it? And then you move to we are. Question is, are we? Again, take the verb to be in the beginning. And you're going to ask, are we? And you are is the same. Are you? And the last one, they are, is the same. Are they? Right? So you have are they at the end. So simply, to ask questions with the verb to be, all you need to do is grab the verb to be, put it in the beginning, and then you're going to ask the question. All right? So I'll give these to you. And I'm going to ask you guys to actually write these on your notebooks as well. So what you're going to have in your notebook, you're going to have positive, negative, and question. So I want you to write these as a question in your notebook. And the way that you're going to practice it or know it is by looking at the notebook or your piece of paper, and you're going to look at positive, negative, question form. And then you can also practice reading it as contractions in the positive, contractions in the negative, and so on and so forth. So again, I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes very quickly. I want you guys to write these as questions in your notebook, right? A few minutes, and just simply take the verb to be, put it in the beginning, add a question mark at the end. Okay, that's going to be the question form. I'll give you guys a few minutes for that. Just as soon as you're done, just type in the chat. Let me know that you're ready, and then we'll wrap up. We'll finish up today's class. Okay, Rafael is ready. Wait for the setter. Oh, the setter said I am ready, Professor. Excuse me. Correct. Okay, great. Let's do it. All right, guys. So here it is. Next one, first one. She is a student of English, right? Question. Is she a student of English? That would be the question. Is she a student of English? Number two. They are close friends of mine. Question. Are they close friends of mine? Are they close friends of mine? Number three, he is a great surgeon. Question, is he a great surgeon? Is he a great surgeon? Number four, I am a native of this country. Question, am I a native of this country? Am I a native of this country? Last one. You are responsible students. You are responsible students. Question. Are you responsible students? Are you responsible students? All right, so you have all the questions there. So you can check your what you wrote. Make sure that you got them exactly the same way that I got them. And I am going to give you some homework on the next slide. If you guys were in my other classes, you had homework. Make sure you send it to me. I'll give you the email address on the chat so you know where to send it. But if you send it, I'll check it and I'll give you feedback. So make sure you send it. Okay. So for the homework, you're going to write the following sentences in the question form and then in the negative answer form. So you have them there in a positive form. So and they have their new sentences. They have some new vocabulary there in there. So what I want you to do is write all 8 sentences as a question, and then I want you to write it as a negative form and send it to me. And you can do contractions if you want. So when you do the negative form, if you want to do contractions, that's okay. If you want to leave it regular, that's okay. But I think you guys can do contractions. You guys know them pretty well. So you guys can send that to me to that email address, and then I'll go over it at the beginning of the next class next week. And that's going to be the homework.